Hi everyone, it's Bren here and welcome back to this week's garden update, and a really very Merry Christmas to those of you who celebrate this holiday. Well, for this week I'm finally going to show you the edible fort. I'm a bit nervous about it because I don't think it looks very good at the moment, but I have said to you over a few weeks now that we were going to check it out, so this is the week for that. Also, I'm going to give you an update on the amaranth flowers, all the different varieties growing here in my garden, and just a general look around. So just grab yourself a cuppa, sit back and relax for a few minutes, and let's get into it. Today over in this area of the garden where I'm attempting to upcycle an old greenhouse into an edible fort for my kids. I have this wooden facade on it at the moment that isn't very secure, but I will be working on it over the next couple of weeks to make it safe so my kids can play in there. The wood that I used is just old fencing that got taken down a couple of years ago, and I've repurposed it to make this wooden frame. Along the sides and the back of the frame, edible crops will grow up it. I had already planted some climbing beans along the base, but I'm having awful trouble with the slugs and snails again, so I sowed some more seeds a week or two ago, which are these here, the red noodle snake beans. I will plant them at the bottom of the fort, and then I just grabbed these, which are the Armenian Striped cucumbers. I have two plants here. One of them's been munched off, but two is still plenty, and I'll pop them in the ground as well for the fort. And in the garden bed beside it, I'm so pleased with how everything is growing. I spent a bit of time in here this week weeding, which wasn't really bad at all. It was mostly just grass that had self-seeded, and now I'm left with all of these lovely patches that I am going to fill with some of the spare seedlings I have, which are looking for a home this summer. I have this jalapeno plant which I left in the ground since last year as a bit of an experiment to see how it would overwinter, and I am happy to see that it's looking lovely and healthy, plenty of fresh growth on it, and it seems to have made it through the colder weather. I think mostly it was probably because we had quite a mild winter here. There was only like very light coverings of frost. What is that? Oh, it's a little beetle. How cute is he? Yeah, we only had really light coverings of frost, so this plant has made it through. On the far end of this bed, you can see the fort over there. There's a lot of lovely plants and flower, particularly a couple of salvias. This particular one is new to me. I only bought the plant as a little starter back in springtime. Here's the label. It's a salvia, one of my favourite types of plants because they're so tough and drought tolerant. But I'm quite impressed with how fast this one has grown. I think I might go out to the nursery and purchase a few more of them. The other thing I absolutely love about them is I've never grown a salvia before in this colour. It's like a maroon red colour, and I think it looks beautiful. The other salvia I have, which was planted at the same time, is down here. I'm going to have to rummage around for the tag, but this one is way smaller. It looks like it might end up getting shaded out by this plant, so I may end up digging this out and transferring it elsewhere in the garden. Beside them I have these achillias, which attract a lot of insects. Oh, do you know, if I wasn't making this video I never would have spotted these. They look like little grasshoppers. Do you see them? They're only babies. It looks like this one's enjoying the flower. There's so much amaranth all over the garden. So this is one of my favourites, the Love Lies Bleeding. These plants all self-seeded. And I do have a few other varieties around the place as well. Over here beside this ornamental tobacco plant is another variety of Love Lies Bleeding, but it's the green one. The more I garden, the more I realise that I really am someone who loves the bright, colourful flowers. I'm not quite sure if I'm really a big fan of this. I mean, it will add a nice bit of green to flower arrangements, but I think ultimately I love the big, brighter colours like this one over here. This gorgeous tassels. And then this one is just stunning. I wish you could see it in real life. It's even prettier and the colour is more intense than you can see here on the camera. This one is the Amaranth velvet curtains. I showed you these ones last week. You can see a flower bud appearing on the Amaranth hot biscuit, and beside them I had a few of the, oh look at this, I showed you these two last week. The snails had got to them. I can't even, oh look at this one. I could show you some with a little bit of foliage even though it's on its last legs. This one here is the hoppy tie-dye amaranth. I need to get a few more of these on the go because they are not going to survive. I'm over at my little nursery to show you a couple of more varieties. These are the Amaranth Splendor and the Amaranth Perfecta, which I really need to pot on now. I only just noticed this lily, which I had never got around to putting in the ground, but it's managed to flower in its pot. I had mentioned last week that I have a lot of work to do in the garden. Well, getting all these spare seedlings out into the ground where I have, you know, gaps here and there, like in that garden bed I showed you a bit earlier, is something I want to get on top of. This tray of about 30 plants is what I really want to prioritise. You can see here, this is a dwarf sunflower which has waited so long and patiently to find a home that it must have given up, and it's now flowering in this cell tray. I've also got a few tomato plants in here. These are the Tommy Toe. And down here, I'm quite excited about this plant. It's an ornamental okra, which I have grown from seed. I've never tried before. I'm really curious to see how it looks. I'm sure the flowers on it are going to be beautiful. Some more straw flowers. I also have a few spare African marigolds, which I know exactly where to put these ones. They can replace the ones that got attacked by garden pests and are pretty much little skeletons now. And then there's some verbena, a few aster plants. Down here there's a zinnia and some globe amaranths. I really need to find a home for all of these. Remember I sowed them a couple of months ago. These are the snapdragons, the rock mix, which I was really drawn to the pictures of the flowers on the packet, and I thought I'd give them a try this year. The sunflower, which I showed you last week, that one just over there, I noticed one morning when I was getting breakfast ready out from the kitchen window that there was cockatoos on it eating its seeds. You can see here that half the petals are missing and it's munched on the top of it. Although it seems to have left the smaller, shorter varieties alone. Here's another one. The caterpillars are loving the sunflowers this year. Over here in the raised garden bed area, the mint is back in full force. This one is the chocolate mint, and then I also in this section have the more common variety growing here too. There's a lot more chicory flowers at the entryway. This is one place where the African marigold's going to be replaced. All that's pretty much left is this dead piece and the tag. It's time now to start collecting the seeds from all of these dill plants. This one here is ready, so I'll just cut it off and pop it into a brown paper bag. You can see all of those little seeds there on top. On this archway, where one side has the Pandoria, the native plant, on the other side I'm growing gourds, These ones are the Tennessee dancing gourds. I've got 2 plants in here, and check this out. It's time for me to start trailing it up the arch. It's time for me to head off for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoy the next few days. Try and relax and take it easy, and I will see you all again next Friday.